Life can be a bit confusing. Life can be a bit strange, right? It's like one day you finally open your eyes as a 4 year old for the first time, and absolutely nothing in this world makes any sort of sense. You're born with these people around you who you call family, who you have to get accustomed to and learn. And you're born into this society or into a certain society, and you gotta get accustomed to certain norms and expectations. And even that can be rather difficult when we were born as a free soul. Fitting into certain expectations while we're young is very difficult for a lot of us, right? Then you get to a certain age and it's finally time for you to leave the nest. It's finally time for you to venture into the world on your own. And that's even a more difficult task because no one shows you how to stand on your own for the most part. No one shows you, how to truly live and create a life for your own, for most of us. And then you're confused on what your why is in life. Why you do the things you do. What is the meaning of all this? How do I make sense of this? How do I truly live life, right? Life is very confusing for a lot of us, or for most of us. I spent a great deal of my earlier years not only trying to make sense of life, but trying to find my why in the world, right? Trying to find my why in the world. But then I realized that all the whys that I could find externally just didn't suffice. They weren't enough. They weren't strong enough, right? They weren't stable enough, right? And so I spent a great deal of years trying to find my why out here. But then one day, the answer that I needed came to me in the form of a question. And that question is, what if my why? What if my reason for living? What if everything that I was searching for out here, what if it was always here and always been here the entire time? What if my why for living? What if the reason why I'm here, right? What if the meaning of all this is me? What if it had been me for the entire time, right? And I think the greatest why you can have in this world, the absolute greatest why you can have in this life is you. And when you are your why, all your actions, all your thoughts, all the decisions you make, all your efforts, right? Everything that you do becomes predicated on becoming the best you, experiencing the best you, and bringing the best of you into the world. When you are your why, you show up for yourself the right way. You pour into yourself. You prioritize yourself. And then you bring the best of you into the world. So the highest why you can have in this world of confusion, the highest why you can have in this world, the only way to make any sense of all of this and create the life that you want to create and giving the best of you to the world is by recognizing that everything starts with you. And you have to be your reason for living. Yeah, I remember I made a video a few months ago, right? It was a while back. It was probably like 5 months ago or so. I think it was an outdoor video. And in the video, I said that you have to be selfish to become selfless. And I think when people hear that, that thing in itself sort of triggers a lot of people, right? Hearing that you have to be selfish to become selfless. And essentially what I was saying is that it is impossible to give something that you don't have, right? It is impossible to become something to someone else that you first aren't for yourself. And I was saying that a lot of us in this world are trying to give what we don't have. A lot of us in this world are trying to be for other people what we have not been for ourselves. A lot of us are trying to make others happy from a place of brokenness or from a place of unhappiness. A lot of us are trying to give love from a feeling of not loving ourselves or from a place of brokenness, right? A lot of us in this world are trying to be the peace of other people when we truly haven't found peace within ourselves or made peace within ourselves, right? We're trying to accept others and fully accept others when we have not accepted ourselves, right? And it is virtually impossible to give something that you do not have, right? But once you recognize that your why, once you recognize that your reason for living has to be you, and you have to pour into yourself, you have to prioritize yourself, you have to put yourself first in order to show up to other people, to show up to those you love, to show up to the world the right way and give your best to the world. You have to be your why. You have to put you first, right? There's truly no other way. I've always said how we experience the world first begins with how we experience ourselves. How we show up to the world first begins with how we show up for ourselves. How we navigate the world first begins with how we in a sense navigate ourselves, right? If that even makes any sort of sense. But life begins with us, right? Life begins with us. So putting yourself first and being your own why isn't necessarily disregarding everyone else, right? It's not saying no one else matters but you and you're the center of the world and disregarding everyone else, right? It's not operating from a place of ego. It's about recognizing that in order for you to truly be for others what you need to be, or in order for you to give what you desire to give, you first have to give those things to yourself, right? So everything starts at us. I think we live in a society in which the moment you say to someone that, they have to prioritize themselves, they have to put themselves first, people become so offensive when you say things like that, right? And the truth is that we've been programmed, we've been indoctrinated, to not prioritize ourselves. We've been programmed and indoctrinated to put everyone else in front of us, to look out for everyone else, to constantly take away from ourselves to the point in which we have nothing left for us, right? So we've been conditioned and programmed to sort of neglect ourselves. We've been conditioned and programmed to not look out for ourselves, because there are a lot of people, a lot of forces, even some of our own family members and friends who want to take advantage of us, right? I remember making a video a month ago, and I said that self-love is the only protection you have in this world. And if you're walking this earth without the ability to love yourself, without the ability to stand up for yourself, without the ability to prioritize yourself, without the ability to put yourself first, without the ability to say no to other people when you have nothing else to give, without your ability to love yourself and choose yourself, you are a psychological victim waiting to happen. But getting to that point in which you fully accept yourself, you fully love yourself, you fully embody yourself, right? First begins with recognizing that you are the highest why you can having this thing that you call life. We are our highest whys. The reason why we do what we do should be to become the best version of ourselves, experience the best version of ourselves, and then give our best to the world. That truthfully should be it. And see, here's the thing about externalizing your why as well, right? When your why is externalized, it can easily be taken away from you. If your why is family or friends, you're going to lose family and friends. As harsh as this sounds, it's true. I've lost family, closest family members, right? They passed away or they left my life. I've lost friends. They passed away or they left my life. If your why is external achievement and external accolades, those things are very fickle. You can have it all today and lose it all tomorrow, right? So when your why is external, it can easily be taken away from you. And once that why is taken away externally, you fall into this deep state of depression. You fall into this deep state in which you have no reason for living anymore. This is why a lot of people find themselves in states of depression whenever they sort of lose people and lose their achievements, so on and so forth, lose their money, so on and so forth. It is because they've made their why for living external. And when something is external, it can be easily taken away. But when your why is internal, when your reason for living is you, nothing and no one can take that away from you. Nothing and no one. And you even begin to approach your challenges in a different way once your why for living is you. You know, there's this beautiful quote by Nietzsche in which he says, and I'm just paraphrasing by the way, those who have, or he who has a strong enough why can overcome anyhow. Right? So if your why for living is you, if the reason that you live is to experience the best you and give the best of you, then you're able to overcome any challenge and any obstacle. When challenges, obstacles, dilemmas, when all of it come your way, you see it as a challenge rather than something rather than something to bring you down, right? When challenges and obstacles come your way, you sort of embrace them, not in the sense that you're necessarily happy for them, but you recognize that they are important assets in becoming the best you. We're constantly being shaped by what, not necessarily, I don't want to say it happens to us, but we're constantly being shaped by our experiences, right? Both negative and positive experiences. We're constantly being shaped by them. And when it comes down to life, becoming the best you requires us to navigate certain challenges, requires us to rise above them, requires us to embrace them, because we recognize that who we want to become is always on the other side of the things that we don't necessarily like, or on the other side of our challenges, right? So when we are our why, we begin to even embrace challenge. We begin to embrace obstacles. We begin to recognize that those things are always shaping us, and we embrace them. But when your why is externalized, it's like you're constantly expecting something external to not only last, but to give you a sense of happiness as well. And nothing and no one can give you happiness. Nothing and no one can give you peace. Nothing and no one can love you into loving yourself. All of those things are inside jobs. All of those things are things that we have to do for ourselves. All of it. And it all begins with recognizing that our why, our reason for living, our reason for being here, experiencing life through our perspective, is for us. Is to become the best us and give the best of us. So everything truly does begin with us. Everything starts right here. And being your why in this world of confusion, even when you don't necessarily know what you want to do with your life, so on and so forth, if you say to yourself, what can I do in this moment to become a better version of me? Find those simple things, embrace those simple things, step into those simple things, lean into those simple things even when they're challenges and scary, right? Is the way to truly become the best of us and give the best of ourselves. So it all begins with us, right? Hopefully I explain this in a way in which people can understand, right? And I'm not saying to disregard everyone else and not care about everyone else. That's not what I'm saying, right? I'm simply saying that how we show up to the world and for others is in direct proportion with how we show up for ourselves. So you have to make your why for living you. You have to recognize that you're always living life from your perspective because you can't take anyone else's perspective. Life is all about you. Living life on your terms, giving what you need to yourself, accepting yourself, loving yourself, all of it, all of it, all of it. Right? Everything begins with us. It truly does. And once you recognize that, you truly begin to prioritize yourself. You stop giving, what you don't have to people and constantly take away from yourself. You begin to create boundaries. You begin to stand up for yourself. You begin to embrace your challenges and obstacles. Yeah. When your why becomes you, that's when you truly, truly, truly step into your power. Alright. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here with me. Take care of yourselves. Give yourselves a little bit of love every day, like I always say. And remember, your why for living, your why for being here has to be you. Because it can be no one else and it can be nothing else. It has to be you. Because the only constant in every single waking day of your life, the only constant in every single breath that you take, is that it is taken by you. So what other why could there be but you? Peace and blessings.